couldn't sleep at all last night. Just thinking of you. Maybe things weren't right. Well, I was tossing and turning, turning and tossing and turning all night.
Good morning, night owls! Welcome all you sunrisers and moonrisers to Sleepless in Studio City, a safe place for discussing what's keeping your mind, body, and spirit from sweet, sound slumber. Your host, DrDebzz, a celebrated columnist, lauded love, romance, relationship, and dating coach, offers simple, soothing solutions and heartfelt help. DrDebzz will discuss topics such as finding and keeping the love you deserve, dating, marriage, parenting, setting boundaries, breaking the cycle, breaking up, following your dreams. We respect your privacy and will not reveal names or contact info. If you'd like your questions answered during a show but are hesitant to call in, please feel free to write DrDebzz at sleeplessinstudiocity@gmail.com and she will address your concerns on the next broadcast. You can also find updates and weekly affirmations on Facebook/Sleepless in Studio City. And now, without further ado, here's DrDebzz.
Thank you, Zach, for that energizing introduction. Always a pleasure and honor to be here with all you night owls for another exciting episode of Sleepless in Studio City. Stay tuned for our magical musical interlude featuring the dynamic singer Pamela Clay. In a live telephone interview, she'll be revealing the meaning of music in her life, what she believes is the key to finding and keeping love, valuable advice for aspiring artists, and much more. You won't want to miss this. I hope you're all staying safe and sane in the midst of the corona crazies. Remember the days when we could hug? It was a different happening then. We may never hug again, but we can still connect soul to soul, heart to heart, spirit to spirit, energy to energy, chi to chi, essence to essence. No one, no matter how powerful, could take that away. You can take away my entertainment. You can take away my money in my home. You can take away my socializing, but you can't take away my hope, my faith. Even Anne Frank made it through isolation and wasn't able to ever go outside. Thank God for walking in the fresh air, seeing a tree, seeing a flower, seeing a squirrel, a neighbor, a smile from a distance, waving at a stranger passing by from afar. You can't take away my belief in love. It's more powerful than a speeding locomotive, able to leap tall buildings at a single bound, more powerful than a raging tsunami, more powerful than an attacking avalanche, an erupting volcano, yes, and more powerful than the atomic bomb. I can feel the power of love from every single person I've had the luxury, honor, and privilege of communing with, whether by phone, text, FaceTime, email, Zoom. I'm eternally grateful for the outpouring of good wishes of caring, compassionate friends and family. Never before have so many people asked if I needed anything. I love the stories of folks standing in the checkout line with 2 rolls of toilet paper, offering one to the next person rather than hoarding both. Reminds me of the earthquake when the neighborhood came together on behalf of one another. It was glorious and joyful, yet so sad, because we quickly forgot after a few weeks, returning to isolation and detachment. How not to forget, how to remember this time, maybe this time when it will sink in. When will we collectively wake up and smell the hummus? When will we raise our consciousness in order to raise that of the entire planet? When will we clean our side of the street rather than focusing on the mess of someone else's psyche? When will we realize that what we do, how we act, how we react, how we treat ourselves and others is the only thing that matters? Maybe our vote doesn't count, but our behavior does. What we do in our own backyard has an impact on the entire universe. Maybe this time we'll remember, we'll recollect that we must, or we will perish as a civilization. I I've been spouting this truth for decades, and now it's come to fruition. There's no choice. We must, or we will exterminate ourselves. We must respect the space of others, not only socially, but verbally and emotionally. Okay, we're all practicing social distancing right now, but we've got to practice not only physically distancing, but in every other area of our lives. We must stop beating up on ourselves and others right now where we stand, right where we reside in our own homes. We must honor each other's space, not only physically, but mentally, spiritually, emotionally, verbally. We must put an end to all forms of abuse, that systematic, ongoing attempt to control and manipulate, those harmful words, sharp tones that injure those around us. It's not only the touching, sneezing, coughing that can kill us, but it's spreading venomous language and wounding others with our words. I'm not as worried about someone coughing the corona all over me as I am about someone regurgitating their verbal poison on me, which can be more deadly than any virus and last much longer and go to our very core. In fact, verbal abuse is a contagion that's been festering for ages. When will we wake up to that before it destroys every man, woman, and child? When will we cease to degrade, discredit, demean, put down, judge, label, brainwash, intimidate, ignore, shun, criticize those around us? Can't you see it's adamant? Can't you see that continued existence depends upon this? Together with your social distancing, I beg you to notice how you treat others and yourself. Take words out of your vocabulary that are not the THINK, thoughtful, helpful, intelligent, necessary, and kind. Think before you speak. Halt, desist, refrain from verbal murder and suicide stat, whether overt or covert, which includes the silent treatment. That's the key to keeping infection away from yourself and others. By changing your behavior, you're not only protecting yourself, but you're saving everyone you come into contact with and those you never come into contact with. Spewing verbal venom is worse than coughing corona into the air. More lethal, noxious, beyond obnoxious. You can save the planet one person at a time by how you treat them and yourself. Check this concept out. When you're demeaning yourself, you're demeaning others. When you're putting yourself down, you're putting down every other human being. When you're berating yourself, you're berating every other living, breathing person. If you can't seem to stop to save yourself, try thinking of those you care about. Do it for them. If you can't do it for yourself, do it for others. If not now, when? If not now, when? If not now, when? If this doesn't get your attention, I don't know what will. You can't hide, ignore, or avoid the truth anymore. The universe is screaming, exploding all around you like bombs going off in the war zone. This is a war. It's a war that needs to be fought internally, not externally. All the weapons in the world, troops, armies cannot win this war. This is a war of consciousness. To raise the consciousness of the planet. It's an inside job. It's about healing the soul sickness that's been slowly, methodically, sincerely ruining lives and relationships for eons. Why do you think we're all being forced to be cooped up in our abodes, on our own, away from all distractions of any kind? To make it so there's no longer a choice. The Milky Way is begging, pleading with each of us to step up to the plate, to be still, and access that still small voice, I've got chills from head to toe, that says you have everything you need right here and right now. You're safe, all is well, you're courageous, competent, confident, creative, compassionate. You are love that you've been searching for. You are the bliss you've been searching for. You are the happiness you've been searching for. You're the Holy Grail. You deserve to be free from suffering. We're going to look at this corona catastrophe, this devastation, as a major blessing. A time to build, a time to soar, a time to reap, a time to grow, a time to blossom, a time to discontinue disconnection and separation. We're all the same. We're all one. There's no you and me. There's only we. Together we can do what we can't do alone. No one is an island. Your pain is my pain. Your happiness is my happiness. Your sadness is my sadness. Your fear is my fear. Your turmoil is my turmoil. Your success is my success. Your corona is my corona. We're all the same. It doesn't matter how much money you have in the bank, the size of your car, the clothes you wear, the house you live in. Take all that away, and it's evident we come from the same place. We go to the same place. Wherever you go, there you are. We all have the same emotions. We're all from the same energy force. That's the only thing that matters, because no one can take away our life force. Let's use that life force to squash this mammoth, this barbaric demon. Heaven on earth waits and needs all of you. Your participation matters. You matter more than ever. Your breath is the very solution. Your breath is the very medicine. Your breath is the very remedy to what ails the solar system. Don't wait. Start this very minute. Reach out to someone. Tell them you love them. Reach out to someone. Tell them you care. Then follow your words with actions. Stay in touch with your loved ones, your friends, far and wide. Ask not what your country can do for you, but what you can do for your country, and miracles will abound. I promise you that's the antidote to what ails us all, the essential truism. Even before creation of man, woman, and animal, nothing has changed. However, we have a chance now to rebuild what's broken. One action at a time, one human at a time, one word at a time, one thought at a time. Let's turn pain into power, violence into gentleness, hate into kindness, divisiveness into tolerance. Individually and collectively, we can make this calamity, this cataclysm worthwhile. Now it's time for our caller. Hello there. Welcome to Sleepless in Studio City. I'm DrDebzz, and who am I speaking with?
This is Jennifer.
Hi, Jennifer. And where are you calling from?
I'm calling from North Hollywood, California.
Hi, Jennifer from North Hollywood, California. What an honor and pleasure to hear from you. What's on your mind tonight, and what's keeping you from sweet, soft slumber? And how are you handling this coronavirus? Have you been home? Have you been isolated?
I've been isolated, but I've been walking. Like today, yesterday I went a different way than I usually do when I walk, and that was really nice because I realized that, like, I'll go to my gym to work out, but I hate it because I've worked out for so many years. So then I'll walk, but I've always walked the same way. So thank God yesterday I went a different way, and it's just opened up this whole new place that I can go walk, you know?
That's nice. Well, that sounds like one of the blessings of the corona. I was thinking about that today. There's actually some blessings in this pandemic. That sounds like one right there. What else are you doing to keep yourself sane during this time?
For a couple of days it was good because I was putting things away, which normally I don't put things away in my house because I'm always trying to figure out what to do about stuff. In terms of, I always feel like stuff is in transition. Like, I always feel indecisive about my stuff. Do I need to, give it away, donate it, sell it, or whatever? And so it always sits around a lot. And so for a couple of days, I was putting stuff away, just focusing on one area, like one table and one this or one that. And so that was good. That was uplifting, too. Instead of having this mindset that, looking at a mess and, you can't deal with that. Instead having mindset like, yeah, I can deal with that. So
I love it. Wait, I love to hear the blessings going on. I was thinking on a worldly, global level, what is going on spiritually rather than just physically, why this catastrophe might be happening. I like that you just mentioned two things. You're taking a different route. You're putting some things away that you're organizing that you wouldn't normally do. And I hear so many people saying they're actually connecting more with people, even though everybody's in isolation. So I don't know if you're sensing that or not. A lot of people are saying, oh, I talked to friends I haven't talked to in years. Have you connected with anybody that you wouldn't normally connect with?
I think there's times, like today I talked to a woman who I've seen her out walking her dog for probably the last year or 2 years, and today we stopped to talk, and that was the first time we've ever really stopped to talk.
I love it. Do you think it has anything to do with what's going on, or do you just think it was random?
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so because it's like you automatically reach out to people to say, how are you holding up? How are you guys holding up? You know,
Right.
that kind of thing.
Ooh, I got chills when you said that. I love that you guys talked after a year of seeing each other.
And today I met a guy who, he sells a lot of stuff online. And he sells just stuff that, like he'll go to the dollar store or he'll go to, whatever it might be, big bucks or whatever. And it's stuff that he could sell online. And then, of course, you have to ship it and you have to package it and all this and that. And he does stuff through Amazon, I guess. And so anyway, it was interesting hearing what he does. But it was amazing what people will pay for, like, whatever, something crazy, like Oreo cookies or bars of soap or something.
So you're saying he goes to the 99-cent store and buys things and then sells them online?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, because he says a lot of people, they don't want to go to the grocery store.
Oh, you're talking now because of the pandemic that they don't want to go out. Oh, wow. Okay, so he's going out and buying things for people that they need.
Yeah. I mean, he was selling stuff before this, so he obviously knows how to do it. But yeah, he goes and he buys stuff that will sell, and so that was interesting. I mean, it's kind of, I don't know. I mean, I guess, there's people who probably can't get to the store, or like he said, maybe somebody lives in another country and what he's selling they can't get in that country, or...
Well, is he doing it to be helpful, or is he doing it to make a buck?
Oh, he's doing it to make a buck.
Yeah. Because I love the stories. That's another thing I love. The stories of how somebody's in line at the market and they have like 2 packages of toilet paper and the person in front of them doesn't have any and they're asking for some and they actually give it to the person next to them. They share, like if they have 2 of something. And I just love hearing that kind of stuff. Or people that have extra supplies and they post online, instead of selling lemonade in front of their house, they're offering people supplies that are necessary that they can't get. So I love when people are trying to be helpful.
It's very ugly to see people hoarding.
Right, but this part of where they're sharing, I'm trying to focus on the positive. Yeah, I don't know if you're feeling this either, though, but I kind of had a sense of this, that people are feeling freer and more comfortable asking for help when they normally wouldn't. Friends are calling friends and saying things like, I'm scared, I'm sad, I'm lonely, and reaching out, where normally nobody would do that. And it's almost like this virus is giving people permission to be vulnerable and permission to admit that they don't want to be alone, that it's hard to be alone. They're asking for help. They're almost being forced. I mean, people are being forced to ask for food. because they can't go to the market for food. So it's everything from food to comfort to a friend to being vulnerable and saying, please help. Have you been able to reach out and ask for help?
No, but I don't need that. I've offered people help. Like if I see somebody, like the other day, the woman was, she had an injury to her leg, and I saw in her cart that she had a semi-walker or something. So anyway, I saw, and I went over and asked her if she needed help, to get stuff to her car. But I will tell you, somebody did help me yesterday because I fell yesterday, and I was out walking and I fell, and a guy did a U-turn in his motorcycle, and he came and he kept his 6-foot distance, but he came up to, he came over to me and he said, I'm going to pick you up now from from behind you. And he did. He put his arms underneath my, arms, and he picked me up.
Oh, that is so sweet. I love that story. That's great. See, that's what I'm saying. I have to focus on that, because if I focus on the negative and the people that aren't doing that aren't keeping their distance and aren't respecting other people's space, and focus on what people are doing. Oh, and speaking of space, I don't know if you noticed this, but I talked about this in my spiel, how people are not only respecting physical space, but it would be great if people respected verbal and emotional space. You know how sometimes people will get in your face, or they'll start yelling, or like today, this guy got closer than the 6 feet, and he goes, "You can't stand there in front of the house and take a picture." I just thought, whoa, that guy was about to get into my emotional space, because verbally he was assaulting us. I don't know if you recognize that, but I just love that people are keeping the distance in more ways than one.
What I notice is that you can't really be polite with people who aren't keeping their distances, because there are people who are just walking around not aware. And so you have to just say to them straight out, please keep your distance.
Well, that's what we had to do, that very thing.
They're not paying attention.
Or they don't care. Like this guy, I guess his job is
or they don't care.
I think his job was to guard the house because he was sitting in a car. So that was probably his job. But he started to get a little bit too close in the 6 feet. And my daughter was, and you need to stay 6 feet away, and she held out her arm. She was really strong because he was approaching. So you're right. We do have to make sure and stand up for ourselves and have people respect our distance. But I don't think it's anything different than respecting our verbal and emotional space, because we have to. I think it would be great if maybe people can carry this into the future, and people keep that distance, not because they don't want to get a virus, but because they're just respecting other people's space. Whether it's a verbal space, I mean, if somebody starts raging at you, you can say, stop, this isn't okay. And it's not any different than saying, please respect the 6-foot rule. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if that ever happens to you, where people get into your space and they're yelling, or they're arguing, or they're calling you a name, or they're being disrespectful. So I'm hoping that people will remember how to treat each other. And on that note, let's hold that thought for a brief station break, and we'll be right back. The moment you've been waiting for, our magical musical interlude featuring the amazing vocalist Pamela Clay. Hello there, Pamela. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Dr. Debzz. I'm so glad to be here.
It's my pleasure and honor. I wanted to start out hearing a little bit about your history, or her story as I call it, and how you became involved in the world of music.
Well, my mom said that she found me cooing in the cradle. So apparently I started singing before I could talk. And I remember very clearly my first show. I was very precocious, so I went to kindergarten early at age 5. And I remember my first show, I was there in the cafeteria of the, school in kindergarten. And I was up on this big stage that they erected in the cafeteria, and I was playing Miss Mary Sunshine, wearing a blonde wig and a big, beautiful red dress, and I was singing, "My name's Miss Mary Sunshine," and all the other kids were playing vegetables or whatever, because it was all about health. It was a musical about health, and I just got hooked. And all my life, being an Army brat, traveling around all over the place, I don't know how the powers that be ever found out when you move every 2 or 3 years, but they'd always pluck me out and put me up there and put me in the show, and it's always been that way. I've been singing and acting all my life.
Oh, how sweet. That's wonderful. Did you have any training, or are you self-taught?
I actually didn't start training until my 30s because, like I say, I was just always thrown up there on stage, and I think I was about 32, and I really wanted to get into this show where I knew I was going to have to sing opera. And so I thought, maybe I should go to a voice teacher and, find out if I can sing opera. And of course I ended up getting the role, thank goodness. But I had to, it was the song that I was doing was a parody of Glitter and Be Gay from the fantastic musical. Gosh, I can't even think who wrote it. But it was a takeoff of Voltaire's, what was it in the original in the French? But it's all about, the moral of the story is one must cultivate one's garden. And the big song in the show is, the singer has to go, and do all these like crazy. It's hysterically funny because the whole show's very funny. And I knew I had to hit a high C at the end, and I'm like, okay, I better take some voice lessons. And I was very fortunate to be led to this woman who, I can't really say that, because I believe all good teachers, they don't necessarily tell you what to do. They help you to set off aha moments in your head where you literally find the way yourself. And so she was a very great teacher in that respect, in that my body literally taught me, not my mind, if that makes sense.
I love that. That's apropos for everything in life. Let your heart lead the way instead of your head.
That's right. And I do the same with my vocal students, because I have voice students and I have taught acting too. I just don't have any current acting students at the moment, but it truly is about really living in that place of truth, and that's definitely your heart. It's not your head.
Oh, yes, words of wisdom, which we all need right now. Do you have any favorite genre?
Favorite genres? Well, it's funny because it seems like, so many of the singers that really, inspired me were men. People like Elvis and Bobby Darin and, people like that. And it seems like maybe it's because men, in a general way, I don't know, maybe I shouldn't even say this, but it seems like they can get away with more being loud and boisterous and energetic and everything, whereas a woman is supposed to be, serene and calm and demure, and, except for people like Edith Piaf, whom I adore, or Judy Garland, whom I adore, or Janis Joplin. I mean, when Janis came around, she literally just, broke the mold of all of these. Not that I disliked Leslie Gore or any of these singers, because I loved, their songs and stuff, but it's just that, these kinds of singers who are just have a lot of fire and energy in them. I'm one of those people, and it's really hard for me to be meek and mellow when I'm not.
Well, I'll vouch for that, and I consider it an asset and a great quality that you have. And it's just a joy to be around you and hear you. And speaking of hearing you, what song are we going to hear tonight?
Well, I pondered long and hard on this because, given what we're going through, and I thought, Wow, this is a song that anyone can relate to at any point, but certainly now. And it's all about dreams coming true. And it's from The Wizard of Oz, Somewhere Over the Rainbow.
Oh, I can't wait to hear it. Who's accompanying you on the track?
Well, I'm very blessed to know so many fine folks like you. But I know this wonderful man who also comes and shoots my live shows, Charles Lawrence. He's so sweet and really good at what he does. He not only, does the filming, but he also has an incredible home studio. And he was so sweet. These are original tracks, I believe, and they certainly sound original because they definitely weren't done by anybody that I know. They were done in some big studio with lots of wonderful instruments.
I'm excited to hear it. What is the meaning of music in your life?
Well, the meaning of music, wow. I guess it's, for a lot of other people too, but it's definitely a way to communicate without words. And gosh, I probably shouldn't say this on the radio, but I have an ex-husband who was Parisian and fine man, but I remember when I did my first one-woman show when I got here to LA at the Gardenia. And he's an incredible drummer. He's actually the drummer in my all-original New Orleans flavored rock band with the man I've been married to for years now, New Orleans-born, wonderful artist, musician, Bruce Bermudez. But Coco, his name is Coco Roussel, and he and this wonderful French man and fabulous upright bass player, the French guy, what was his name? He was playing piano, so it was, four of us on the stage there at the Gardenia, and we would rehearse and everything. And I remember saying to Coco one day, oh, how wonderful it must have been to be able to grow up with Edith Piaf, those wonderful songs and the words. And he said, I never listened to the words. And I said, what? Oh my goodness. Because for me, the song is really, if it's a good enough song, it could be sung without any music, and the words stand alone.
Yes.
But it's not, you know what I mean? And so the music, of course, is just like the wonderful icing on the cake, or the boat on which, the words float or something. I don't know, but they definitely go together, and you can't separate them. But my point is that was it for me. I went, if he doesn't care about the words, then how can he be married to me? Because the words are so important, and, I can't sing a song unless it really means something to me. So it's like, okay, well, I guess it's time for me to go, and that was it. That was the straw that broke the camel's back. But like I say, we remained friends and stuff. It's just I realized that, he couldn't really understand me. He couldn't get me. And he's very happy. He found the woman of his dreams. I am the man of my dreams, so it's all good,
Speaking of love and the man of your dreams, what do you think is the key to finding and keeping love in your life?
Well, I think the first thing is you have to believe it's possible, because our beliefs determine so much what happens. And so you have to believe in love, and believe that there is someone for you. I believe in that, I don't know what you call it, an adage or something, but all things I seek are now seeking me. I think it's definitely that way with love. And if you believe that there's someone out there looking for you, then it's true. Because it's something about the vibration of love, that you're vibrating at the same frequency. And I've been called a yenta because I can sometimes feel the frequency of I don't know how else to say it, but lovers, and lovers who should be together. And I have 3 successful marriages under my belt. If I know the man that you're meant to be with, then I'll definitely let you know. But it's like I hear your song, and then when I speak with him, it's like he's singing the same song. It's a frequency.
Oh, I love it. I absolutely adore that. I like the saying, if you believe, you will receive.
Yes. Oh, I love that. Thank you. Oh, I'm going to put that in my book. I love it. Yeah.
And that applies, and I love that. Thank you so much. Those are gems of wisdom. And do you have any advice for aspiring artists?
Advice for aspiring artists, I think first and foremost is if you don't know how already, you must know and practice telling the truth. It's very, very, very important to be honest with yourself and to be honest with other people, because that is where your gold is. And because literally the truth of your being, if you are an artist, craves to be expressed. And expression is best expressed when it's expressed truthfully and fully and genuinely. Otherwise, I'm already bored and I've already fallen asleep, because we sense on an instinctive animal level when someone is not being honest with you. When you see an actor on the screen, you don't even have to have the sound on. You know if that person is being honest and true or not. And it's the same thing with a singer, and it's the same thing with a painting, it's the same thing with a sculpture. If someone has truly given that work of art their soul, their honesty, their truth, then it's going to be great. And if the artist doesn't do that, it's not going to be so great.
Oh, I got chills. Wait, I want to write down all those words, because they are gems to live by.
Oh,
I mean,
cool.
can you imagine if everybody was authentic in their selves in whatever we did? Just walking down the street and your smile and the way you speak and everything. It would be all love. It would be pure love.
It's true. It's true. And I think that possibly part of the reason why I've always felt kind of like I never really belonged, because a lot of times what happens in our life, as you can see throughout the eons, is people form cliques, they form groups, they form teams, and all that stuff's great. It's lovely to be a team player, but there's something about being exclusive and exclusionary, which is anti-life. And so I think it's important that we also, learn to not only sit well with ourselves, but also sit well with other people, even if we're not necessarily, in their club or on their team, or, that it's life is, what can I say, it's a solitary experience.
I hear you. And I think you said it. If people were to live through their heart and their truth and not their mind, there would be no separation, because we would see that we're all the same.
Yes, and it also, in opening your heart like that, then I think that can only lead you to do what my dad taught me when I think I was like 5, maybe, when he taught me about the golden rule. And the same thing, if everyone were to live by the golden rule, what an incredible world it would be. It would be so cool. I remember at 5 years old when Daddy told me that. I was sitting there. We lived on this incredible estate in Princeton when he was getting his PhD. It was 276 acres of forests and fields, and he had a garden, and he had this old barn. And I remember we were sitting up, on the second floor of the barn, and he was telling me about the golden rule. And I just remember visualizing, wow, the whole world, like everybody being kind to each other, and everyone caring about each other. I mean, it just would be, and I believe it's possible. And maybe we are evolving to that. I don't know. I'm Pollyanna, and I can't help but believe the best is yet to come.
Oh, no wonder we're like-minded souls. My mother taught me the golden rule. Although I have to preface it and say she didn't live by it, but I always say, and I say this on the show, it would be great if everyone treated each other that way. There would be no war or famine or plagues or anything like that. It would be great.
So true.
Oh,
it would
wow.
be wonderful.
Well, thank you so much, Pamela. It's been an honor and pleasure. I would like to thank you and ask you, is there anything else you'd like to leave us with before we hear your wonderful song?
Oh, thank you. Just to realize that it's all now. There is no yesterday. There's no tomorrow. There's only now. And to live as fully as you can in this present moment now, because we don't know what's going to happen.
Oh, thank you so much. It's been
You're
such
welcome.
a wonderful, wonderful privilege, pleasure, and honor. And without further ado, we're going to hear Pamela Clay singing Somewhere Over the Rainbow. Take it away, Pamela.
Thank you, thank you.
Bravo, thank you.
In a lullaby, somewhere over the rainbow, skies are blue, and the dreams that you dare to dream really do come true. Someday I'll wish upon a star and wake up where the clouds are far behind me, where troubles melt like lemon drops away above the chimney tops. That's where you'll find me, somewhere bluebirds fly, birds fly over the rainbow. Why then, oh why can't I? Happy little bluebirds fly beyond the rainbow. Why, oh why can't
How great was that? Thank you, Pamela Clay. Welcome back to the show, Jennifer. We were talking about personal space, albeit physical, emotional, or verbal, and whether you've had anyone get too close and how you handle it if somebody crosses the boundary into your personal zone.
I think for me as a woman, because in a business that I was in, I had to learn how to do that. And so that was one of the first lessons I learned in dealing in a business that I dealt with a lot of men with. was to put out my hand physically when a therapist told me about this, and to yell very loudly at this man who was coming over to yell at me, stop. And he did. I mean, he continued to yell, but he did it way back over in the corner.
I love it. I love it. I love it. So you just held out your hand and kind of stuck up your palm. There was a show, and this woman used to say, talk to the hand because that head's not listening. I love that concept, and I'm going to continue to use it. And what kind of business was that where you had to stand up for yourself as a woman?
I was in construction. I used to be a builder.
Oh, well, that makes sense. You were the only female among many males.
Oh, yeah, because this was many, let me see, 30 years ago.
How did you get into that business? Was it a family business?
My ex and I, we got into it together, and then I was in it by myself for many years thereafter.
Whoa.
And so, there's just a lot of men, obviously, that are misogynists in the world, and so you have to deal with that. And so seeing this therapist at the one time, and I had this 6'2" guy on my job, and I'm about 5'5", and he would yell at me, blow up and yell at me, and so my therapist at the time gave me that suggestion, that little trick to do, and sure enough.
I love it.
But what's better than that is if you meet a man, like I had an inspector on the job, and my ex, he told me this building was okay, and it wasn't. What was really neat is that there was an inspector with the city of Los Angeles on my job, and because my building was totally screwed up, and so he would come out every week and work with me on how to fix the building properly. And after 2 months, I got it fixed properly. And he gave me, and he was so happy, he gave me a kiss on the lips. And it was so great because this, it wasn't the kind of a kiss where it was like a sexual kiss in any way. It was like a friendship, like we were both rejoicing that I had gone through this and got this building fixed right.
Wow.
So there's good guys and then there's asshole guys.
Right. You had both. And that was before the Harvey Weinstein era, but it being the only woman, because I remember walking down the street in front of a construction site, and the guys would yell out all this inappropriate stuff and start whistling and say, hey, sexy, and this, that, and the other.
I mean, we're all so different in the world because that never ever bothered me. I was always flattered.
Oh, I was just going to say, you could take that as flattery, and at times I would do that too. So
the only thing I wish I had been is I wish I had been more ballsy and to just taken a bow in the middle of the street. Just as you're walking across the street, they're whistling and doing that.
Yeah.
And then you just take a curtsy.
I like that perspective. Take it as a compliment.
Yeah, take it as a compliment.
Today, a guy wouldn't even do that anymore and say, hey, sexy.
No.
I heard this guy the other day. He said he wouldn't even hug a woman, even if it was just like you were talking about, not a sexual hug, but just a friendly hug. And he was afraid to do that because he was afraid of what's going on.
Touching thing. Like I had a friend of mine at the gym tell me, because I'm a touchy kind of person. And so, and I've gone to my gym for many years. And so I had this man tell me, because I would call people darling or something like that, And so this guy one day, he got very mad at me, and he said, I'm not your darling, and please don't be touching me. And I was just taken aback. But then later I talked to a friend of mine, and he told me that, touching, he says, I never touch anybody.
Right.
And I thought that was very interesting. And so that's how life has changed.
Right. You're not alone in that. I had that happen with someone, and not that long ago, because I'm also a touchy-feely, huggy person. And I went up to someone I know for a long time, and I was so excited to see him. I gave him a big hug, and he kind of pushed me away, and he said, you don't always have to hug.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, this is someone I've known for years. It's like a friend, and we won't realize some people are offended by that. I actually later on found out that this guy had just ended a relationship and that he was the abuser. So you don't know where people are coming from. I mean, even that guy who said, don't touch, it probably was about him and his history, something maybe happened with him. Wow, it's so interesting. No, I was just going to say, I love how we started out talking about the virus and the blessings, and we got into talking about the new...
I think if you, like I was at this concert at the Hollywood Bowl, and a husband and wife were in their seats down at the end. And towards the end of the concert, I wish I'd done it sooner, but I went out over and I really extended myself to the gal, and she was a lot smaller in stature than her husband was. And I just started, like, I'd rub my shoulder up against her, and I'd say, isn't this great? Like we were, about the music and stuff. And it just, I mean, this gal so warmed up to somebody paying her attention that, her husband was, you could just tell they had a good thing going, two very lovely people. But it's like we never know what's going on with somebody. And and I felt wonderful too, because I made a genuine connection with her just in the few minutes we shared, Yeah. And so some people like that guy at the gym, he had whatever going on with him that day, and that taught me that lesson, that not everybody wants to be touched, but there are people that do,
I hear you. Yeah, well, this whole boundary thing of this 6 feet, like I say, it's something that I think has been an issue that we've had to deal with in all areas, not just the physical. And I'm hoping that people will remember and continue to respect each other's spaces. If nothing else, I do hope we remember lots of things. And in my experience, when there's a catastrophe, I don't know if you were in California for the earthquake, but I remember people came to help each other, and everybody was warm and friendly. And then about 3 weeks later, after it was over, everybody went back to being separate and not caring and not saying hi and not being helpful. So I'm hoping this time we'll remember.
But I want to share with your listening audience out there that I was listening to the news tonight, and Urban Partners LA is a food bank, and they are giving out food to people who need food. I'm going to go volunteer with them, and if anybody needs a referral for where you could get food, Urban Partners LA.
Thank you so
and
much.
They were giving out 2 bags of food to families.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Thank you so much, because somebody else told me today how they were starting food banks, and I was going to bring that up as another blessing of this virus, that it's wonderful to see that people...
the other thing is, like today, it's like, again, it's like that thinking, like they had the electricity turned off in a certain neighborhood of Los Angeles, and these people who had gone out and bought all this food, and the woman said, well, we got it because they said we were going to be in quarantine for 14 days. Well, of course, that's not what they said. They didn't say anything about that in the beginning. So she was one of these people who, her and her husband went out and they hoarded, and or I won't say hoard, but anyway, they got lots of food. They had a big sub-zero fridge, and it showed all their food stacked in there. And now they were like saying, like, oh my God, we're going to lose all this money on all this food we bought. And I thought it's too bad that somebody did suggest to her, well, you could take all that and donate it to a food bank. So if there's any people out there listening, if you have lots of extra food, You can go donate it to a food bank.
Oh, Jennifer, thank you so much. That is so sweet of you. Well, thank you so much. It's been a pleasure and honor to talk to you.
Thank you, Dr. Debbie.
Thank you so much, Jennifer.
Everybody stay strong out there in LA.
Oh, and stay strong everywhere, you guys who are listening.
Stay safe and stay 6 feet away from everybody, and don't go to the grocery store any more than what you absolutely have to because of the checkers
too
and
close.
stuff.
Oh, and how
not
you
to
handle
endanger
it.
anybody.
Oh, you're so sweet. You've touched my heart, and wow, thank you so much for calling in, and I hope you get some soft, sweet, sound-soothing sleep tonight.
We just got to rock on LA. I tell you, the one thing I thought about the other day, I thought, oh my God, can you imagine if we had a gas shortage now?
Oh, I thought of that too. What about the electricity? Oh. But anyway, we're going to stay positive here and stay in the light and bless the world.
White light around everybody out there.
Yes, hear ye, hear ye.
All righty.
Peace out.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Peace out.
We have a write-in question from Melanie in Shaker Heights. I'm a giver, and I always attract these takers who drain me, but I can't seem to say no to them when they reach out for help. I'm afraid if I'm not there for them, they'll badmouth me behind my back to mutual friends. Thank you, Melanie. I can relate to that, being a people pleaser myself and a giver. Thank you for your honesty. I've been thinking lately how relationships have to be based on reciprocity. I love that word, reciprocity. My word of the day. I never really understood that because I was either taking care of someone or someone was helping me. And that concept was elusive until recently. I've come to understand that one-sided relationships are not healthy for either of us. They're not thriving, they're not supportive, and I always feel ripped off. There's an emptiness. No wonder I felt lonely for so many years, because I only had one-sided relationships. It sounds like that's what's going on with
Welcome
you,
back
Melanie.
to the show, Jennifer. We were talking about
with this
personal
corona
space,
pandemic that's forcing
albeit
everyone
physical,
to be
emotional,
still
or
and
verbal.
go inside not only their homes, but inside their minds, their souls, their bodies, and their spirits, is giving us an opportunity to reevaluate all of our relationships, to recognize we deserve to live in the light. We don't have to live in the darkness. And if you have relationships that don't feed you, that don't feed your mind, body, spirit, and soul, no wonder you feel empty and are starving for that connection, but a real connection. I believe that that's what the universe is saying to us. I'm going to separate everybody because you need to come together and really connect, being your authentic self. Not trying to please someone else so they'll like you. People pleasing, be gone. Evaporate. Go away with the corona. You both need to be exterminated once and for all. And there's a bit of selfishness in people-pleasing as well, because it's about us. We want people to like us. So we're actually not being a giver in the altruistic sense of the word. We're being a giver because we want to get something. Even that in itself is dishonest. So think about it, Melanie. Next time you're giving, are you giving from your heart because you really care and have compassion and empathy for someone? Or are you giving because you want something back? Do you want them to like you, to be your friend? Fear about if you aren't there for them, they're going to go and badmouth you and tell everyone, oh my gosh, Melanie wasn't there for me. Again, that's about you, and that's fear, false evidence appearing real. What you think of me is none of my business. Great philosophies to live by. You can't worry about somebody else. You can't fix or change someone else. all you can do is clean your side of the street. And that's the other thing about this virus. We're all at home spring cleaning our homes. What about spring cleaning our minds and our bodies and our spirits? This is the opportunity, the optimum chance to clean out not only what doesn't bring you joy in your home, but what doesn't bring you joy in your relationships. We can all start from scratch. We can all start anew. You can take your sanitizing wipes and sanitize your relationships. From start, get rid of all those germs. Get rid of all that toxicity. It's time to be rid of the poison that infiltrates us not only physically, but emotionally, mentally, intellectually, spiritually. I'm going to take a hand sanitizer from now on and hand sanitizing all the people I've known in the past. Get rid of the germs. Get rid of the feeders and the takers. Oh my gosh. Lysol the world. Lysol us inside and out from head to toe. Oh, I love the concept. I'm ready to do it, Melanie, and I hope that you're ready to do that too. And reevaluate your relationship with the takers. Check this out. If you're a giver and you're with another giver, can you imagine? Oh my God, I got chills all over. My hair is standing on end. Givers unite. Get together. Come on, people now. Get together. Smile on your brother. Everybody get together. That would be great. So from now on, I don't know about you, Melanie, but I'm looking for givers, and I'm a giver. So that's what I have to say. I hope that helps. Givers rock. Rid yourself of people-pleasing from now on. Thank you for writing in. I hope that helps, and feel free to write in again and let us know how it goes.
Well, that's all the time we have. Tune in nightly at 9 p.m. Pacific Time and midnight Eastern Time to AmericanHeartsRadio.com for another enlightening episode of Sleepless in Studio City. DrDebzz, deemed the new relationship guru, a West Coast Dr. Laura, and East Coast Carrie Bradshaw, provides comforting, heartfelt help. She will lift your spirits, illuminate your mind, inspire creativity, promote positivity, and empower you to pursue your highest aspirations. You deserve to be the best version of yourself. If you'd like to be a guest caller, featured artist, or have your writing question answered on the show, feel free to contact DrDebzz at sleeplessinstudiocity@gmail.com, and she'll schedule you for the next opening. For replay links, updates, and affirmations, please visit facebook.com/sleeplessinstudiocity or twitter.com/DrDebzz. Find full episodes on iTunes. You can also listen to 5-minute excerpts on YouTube while watching a soothing, serene slideshow. DrDebzz is available around the clock for telephone life coaching sessions, and the first consultation is free. Contact her at sleeplessinstudiocity@gmail.com to arrange an appointment at your convenience. DrDebzz will impart weekly wows, words of wisdom, and leave you with esteem builders and confidence boosters to help you transform from the inside out. Repeat often. Say them in the morning, in the evening, while driving, standing in line, or on a lunch break. Speak with conviction, and you will begin to believe. Without further ado, here's DrDebzz.
Thank you, Maxie, for that endearing closing. You are a light in my life, and you give me hope to carry on. You are the miracle and the reason for the season. I leave you with this quote from Michael Bernard Beckwith of the Agape International Spiritual Center of Truth. When we give our unconditional commitment to wake up, come what may, it gives us a taste of genuine freedom of living now. Right here, right now, on the spot where we now stand. Heaven is happening right where we are, right in the midst of challenges as well as joys, and we accept both as lights on our path.
Thank you, Michael. And I leave you with these positive affirmations. You can practice them standing in front of your mirror, looking deep into your eyes, where you will see your spirit, your chi, your essence. The presence of God expresses peace and joy all over my life. I live in tune with the fundamental order of the universe. My relationships reveal a joint participation in divine love. Excellence vibrates as every cell of my body temple, and so it is. Amen. I wish you joy. I wish you peace. I wish you freedom from suffering. Peace out.
After midnight, we're gonna let it all hang out. After midnight, we're gonna let it all hang out. I see. After midnight, we're gonna let it all hang out.